Hello, everyone. Um, Finally got a chance to get back into doing this. I haven't done it in a while. I've had some problems with trying to find a good webcam and getting all that stuff set up. I'm not really an AV person. Um, so I'm learning a little by little. Eventually, we're going to blog started, my wife and I, and we'll be putting some more stuff. And then once I start educating myself on more of this stuff, we can come out more videos. Now, if you haven't seen my videos from before, I did post them on World of Supers RPG. I think I put it on Bash. No, not Bash. I think I put it on Hero System, the Hero games. I might put some on. I did a little bit, and I'll try to put around on some other ones. Basically, it's about something that I haven't seen a lot of YouTube stuff done on it, and that's Champions, the superpowered role-playing game. Now, I went over to the past and everything before about this stuff. I talked about, how I got started, how to create a character, the basic rules, and then basically how it works. So I'm going to get into what some people have been asking me to do is like a top 10. Now, this top 10 is actually going to be about 4th edition champions for a couple of reasons. First off, it's near and dear to my heart because the time I was 22 to about 30, I stopped role playing altogether. I was a born again Christian at the time, and I was told, so I was caught up in the whole, excuse me, I was caught up in the whole satanic panic of the 80s and 90s that if you play D&D or any kind of RPG, that you're selling your soul to Satan. And yeah, so I got into the whole thing, and I want to do the right thing, so I basically just stopped doing it altogether. And then when I was hanging out at the bookstore, I think it was a Walden or a B. Dalton bookseller, which we don't see anymore because there's not that many bookstores out anymore, and I lament them all the time. Our last used bookstore ended about a year ago in January. That was the last used bookstore here in Miami, Florida, where I live. And I died 1,000 deaths and, cried about it for a little while. Because I like old bookstores. I like bookstores, but I do the old bookstores. They get that smell, that look of like, and you get the same stuff, like a paperback that costs like $8 or $9 at Barnes and Noble costs like maybe $2. And it's the same thing. I don't care about how pretty the thing looks. I want the story. But anyway, um, I'm doing 4th edition. I'm also doing it because it was what got me back in the hobby. I remember I was there and I saw the wonderful cover by none other than, let me get this out, none other than, George Perez. And that's always been, to me, the most awesome Champions cover I've ever seen. I absolutely loved it. This is a hardback. I'll be talking about this later. But, Champions, so just a brief tune-up. Champions was to my knowledge, the very first point-based system. The one that before that time, you had, of course, Dungeons and Dragons. Then you had like Traveller and Gamma World, all these things. So they're pretty much either skill-based systems like Traveller and Call of Cthulhu BR, the basic role-playing system, or it's random generation like D&D and some other systems that were like that. To my knowledge, Hero System, which was originally called Champion Stardust Superhero Game, was the very first customizable, purely point-by system. There's no levels. You don't roll for anything. You do everything from the ground up. And it can be intimidating or it can be also a lot of fun. It depends on who you are. Some people like a game where everything's kind of done for them, which I greatly appreciate that. But at the same time, it's nice to play a game where you can kind of make what you want to make. And I think, although I like 5th, and I've done a lot of 5th, 4th is a little bit simpler, and 4th does some things that I really wish 5th went a little too overboard with some of the stuff, with over explaining or over qualifying stuff, and that bled into 6th edition. Too much defining and too much power builds, like everything's a power build, and I thought a lot of it was just some unnecessary complications. Anyway, I don't want to digress. So, and the third reason I'm doing 4th edition, because Hero System a few months ago finally put their 4th edition stuff on PDF, which is something a lot of fans have been waiting to do because it's really hard to find out of print stuff that's reasonably cheap and in good condition. You probably get a Noble Knights or eBay, which I screw around, whereas you can just buy it directly as a PDF and hey, you're right there. And I've actually, and also because now it's some stuff I miss that I have now. The other reason is because some of the stuff I have is falling apart. Um, Particularly like the soft cover of this. Excuse me. The soft cover of this game tends to fall apart. Even the hardcover. This is a brand new one. This one I bought pretty inexpensively because I wanted a brand new book, and it's basically has the rules in the back for. They used to have a computer program called Hero Maker, which is a DOS program, which was pretty cool. The only problem with it is unless you have an old printer, it doesn't recognize new printer drivers. So there's a Byzantine, complicated way of doing it. Unless you're a program, I've never been able to figure out how to print the characters from that. And there's a couple more. There was Hero Creator, and then the one for 5th and 6th edition called Hero Designer. That basically helps you make a character. You know, I do contend you don't really need a program to make characters. I just like generators myself, even games that I don't really need. Like I don't really need a generator for first edition AD&D, but sometimes I like to have one. And they're really good nice to use if you're doing some online. You can just make up a character and send it on HTML or something like that. So I have to like scan and print and all that stuff. So that's what I always liked. Anyway, yeah, that's the major reason. Because some of mine have fallen apart, and sometimes the advantage of having a PDF because you can print out stuff that you want to print out, and so that's a disadvantage. Of course, the disadvantage is you have to have a computer, and I'm one of those people that only run a game if I have the hard copy. I will never run a game completely rule set where the rules are on my computer. I want a solid book. Anyway, so I thought I'd go by top 10 of my favorite 4th edition champions. These are just my personal favorites. It doesn't have to be yours. Everybody has their own list or a own idea about what they like. But this is mine. And like I said, I'm not an AV person that much. I'm just started to do these videos. I'm doing it now because I thought it might be fun. So I'm going to do it right now. And I'm going to start off, and I don't have anything to pull up. I'm just going to be doing it off the screen. So number 10. This one, Day of the Destroyer. Now, anyone knows this is about is basically a save the world kind of setting, adventure, and it starred none other than Dr. Destroyer, which is pretty much the XP version of Doctor Doom in the Champions universe, with a big difference in the background and everything. But it's basically your incredibly powered armored supervillain that wants to take over the world. He's very powerful. And in this one, he's basically going to wipe out 90% of the population of the planet. Basically, I have become death of the shadow of worlds. In these words, Dr. Destroyer, the greatest evil mind in the world today, announces the return, along with the most destructive scheme ever. 9 out of every 10 humans on the planet will die in 72 hours. Only Earth supers have a chance to stop the massacre, but first they must find him. And I think this is a pretty well-written adventure. There's some role-playing. There's some, it's not just hit things all the time. I remember back when we used to play Champions as kids, it was pretty much which villain do we beat up on today. This has some good role-playing opportunities and problem-solving materials. Most of it that's like, where is Dr. Destroyer? How is he wiping out 90% of the population of the Earth? Why is he doing it? And so forth. A little background, some investigation, as well a bunch of fighting, because later on in the module, limit the spoilers on this. A bunch of villains decide to team up with Dr. Destroyer, and Dr. Destroyer tells them, well, if you do what I do, then I'll make you my agents later. You can be like my lieutenants. You can be my shock troopers. You can be the one to keep special order, and I'll protect you, and you can take over the world with me. Under me, of course, there's Dr. Destroyer. There's no equal. But still, that's how it is. And this is actually pretty cool. And it's nice to see it. One thing that Hero Games didn't do a lot of was adventures. There's a few here and there, but not a lot. The one his biggest competitor for a long time, Villains Vigilante, which incidentally was my first superhero RPG, which I ditched after I found Champions. It has a lot of adventures. It has, and so you probably either play V&V, or for fun, or if you prefer something better. I know, sorry, I'm being a dick. If you prefer something else, then you can just take those characters, convert them over, and run the adventure using Champions. But You can do that using champions. But yeah, basically, if you it has some good stuff in there. And but yeah, it hasn't done a lot of adventures. Basically, I don't think the modules really sell a lot. Um, but so that's why you don't see a lot of them. But this is actually a pretty good one. So that's the first one. Um, Number 9, Alien Enemies. Okay, this is a pretty cool one. I always like this. This is the one I got a lot of work out of. Now, one of the things like I said, they didn't come out with adventure books, but they did come out with a lot of enemies books, a lot of villain books, which I thought was the coolest thing because you don't have to really make characters. You pick them out and throw them at people. This has some pretty cool ideas in it. There's a lot of adventures, a lot of like things you can do, adventures. There's some rip-offs, like the Aquarians are basically just, they have Aquarian race, as you can see, this is one of them. And they're basically, Atlanteans or alien Atlanteans, underwater aliens and stuff that came to this earth, to do stuff. And then there's one of my favorites is the Exterminator's just fun. It's basically 5 people that go around in this van with Exterminator on this cover, and they kill aliens. They don't care if it's a good alien or bad alien. As far as they're concerned, only good aliens, dead alien. So they tend to go after every alien there is, even if they're good or bad. They don't really care. And they're basically, as they put it, like, they're a group of people with incredibly powerful, unstable laser rifles. We're act like a bunch of drunken hunters, just go around and hunt people down. And you also have you have one called the Tyak, you have one called the Galactic Marauders, who are basically sort of like Starjammers or Guardians of the Galaxy, except they're pretty evil. They're evil people. They're not really good people. You have shape-shifting aliens. Some of these are tropes that you see a lot of. Now, my favorite one is the Pantheon. The Pantheon are a group of people who basically take their name after their identities after Roman gods. What they actually are aliens, alien entities that take over a body host and use that host to run around and cause trouble. And apparently, long time ago, thousands of years ago, they were the Roman gods, and eventually they got bored with it and took off. Now they're back and causing trouble again. So that's always a neat idea. And they even have like an organization back called Matt, with a boring character named Orad. It's sort of like a alien Iron Man type character, but it seems like not very interesting. But yeah, if you want a group that deals with aliens, or you want extraterrestrials, you want an organization that deals with them, like got like Sword in the Marvel Universe. They're pretty cool. And also just a lot of things you pull aside. They have the Ekrosian Tyak War, which is basically these humanoid like aliens in a war with these bear like centaurs. And it's one of those things with a twist. You find out who's really the good guys or really the bad guys. I don't want to spoil it, but you might want to pick this up on eBay or Noble Night Games. It's a good one. It's got some good stuff. And aliens have always been part of like superhero genre. Now, I mean, the very first superhero was an alien. But so that pretty much tells you. Okay. Here's one I like. I haven't used it much, but it's a good book called Champions of the North. Okay, this is, as it says, basically a Canadian superhero thing. The general idea about this is that it shows how different Canada would be with superheroes and how they look at things. Canada does not really have like a lot of people carrying guns around. Maybe say if your American superhero decides to go to Canada and not have to turn in that gun that he likes to use a lot, pretty much all the superheroes are part of a team. They're more organized. You don't see a lot of loners. Occasionally you see a villain that's more gray area characters, not really evil, but tends to like avoid the law or do things against the law or away from the law. They're just bad people. It has a more of a Silver Bronze Age feel to it. Not a lot of murderers or killers or dark psychopaths in here. There are people who are really messed up. Most of them are usually standard villains that fight the heroes and try to take over the world or cause trouble, and they get defeated. But they're not like, Carnage type characters. They're not dark. And also, what I also like about it is most of the characters, the beginning characters, like I said before in a earlier video, one of the things I like about 4th edition Champions is you have like 8 pre-made characters you can just jump right in. This also has that. Most of the characters in there are 250 to 275 point characters. So you can pretty much say, I just showed up, my wife kicked me out of the house for a while, or I had nothing to do, I want to make a character, I don't want to spend 3 hours making a character, here, pull one out here. And just write it down or print it out and you're ready to go. Background and everything. So you can have somebody say, and if you're say you're in the United States American campaign and you like the character in there, well, hey, takes a little vacation, or he has to extradite somebody. Maybe the villain that you're after is Canadian, and they send this one superhero to come in and take him back to Canada to get tried. And nice contrast about the way things are in Canada compared to the United States. Canada's a little bit different. There was actually a show that you might like called Humans and Households about a bunch of D&D characters who play a role-playing game set in our world, and one of them there's a scene in there where 2 of the guys pull out guns because they're Americans and look over the girl and say, "Well, I'm Canadian." Better health plan, stricter gun laws, all that kind of stuff. So it's a different kind of look, and it has a good explanation, and it has the advantage of giving you a lot of information about Canada in condensed, so you can understand about the WoW, about their background. And also has a big slew of neat characters you to play with. 3 different super teams in Canada. And just a lot of really cool stuff. And I thought art was really good. So you might want to pick this up if you want to have a little bit of international flavor, and you want to maybe try running something other than the United States, and particularly other than New York City, which seems like 98% of the superheroes live in New York for some reason. And there's that. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry about that, but I had to get some water. My throat is getting dry. I'm in my library. This is where I do all my gaming stuff. I got my figures and my everything. Anyway, so that's Champions of the North. It's written by John Matson and illustrated by Mont Cook. He's everywhere. Interior illustrations, Patrick Zurcher, and cover illustration, John Hartwell. I think I've heard of Zurcher before. I knew who Mont Cook is. Everybody knows who Mont Cook is. And so yeah, this is Champions of the North, and it gives you a lot of really cool stuff to do. Now here comes a big one. I maybe should have put it a little higher on the list, but I didn't because I'm not very good at that. So here it goes. Ta-da! Dark Champions. Heroes of Vengeance. Now, the reason why I should have put this higher on the list, I didn't think about it, but I'm trying to keep things the way I have it. I'll probably say Dark Champions is probably the most successful project that Hero and Ice came out with back in the 90s. And the reason I say that is because it's the one that spawned the most supplements outside of basic champions. Now, if you understand what Dark Champions basically is, Heroes of Vengeance, this is basically the game where you want to play like the Punisher, Wolverine, Daredevil, pretty much anything that shows up. If you think about the big 4 that come up in Netflix, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, and Daredevil. That's pretty much Dark Champions. Daredevil's a little bit more idealistic because he tries not to kill, and while the other ones try not to either. I think Jessica Jones did had a justification for what she did at the end of her series, but basically what we see is like, this is the one where you want to do March Street Crime. You're not trying to save the world, but you're trying to save the city, or at least trying to stop, the drugs in your area, or do something. Stand up for what's right. And we're supremacists a lot of the time that there's different ways you can play it. But there's a default setting, is one called Hudson City, and kind of the default setting for a lot of Dark Champions is that you're basically doing the job that the police and the courts are not handling. We're the premise of the guilty never get punished, and the innocent get punished. Right? What's the phrase? The innocent suffer and the guilty go free. There's corruption. You have to take the law into your own hands. Now, of course, you can have something like in Batman, the anime series, where you have some corruption, but you have people like Commissioner Gordon and stuff. They have good, bad. But the general idea is that you're the one that has to take all the trash. Nobody's doing their job like the way they're supposed to. So you're in there trying to do the job that they don't want to do, or can't do, or won't, or is too corrupted. Cough today. So what happens is, this is basically, it's for low-powered. Means that most of your characters in this game are not going to be like Superman or more like Batman, more human. They can have powers, but the idea is that like they're resistant. A bullet is still a danger. It's supposed to be to a danger. And it's pretty much the one that deals with street crime. It has a lot of information about superheroes and the law. It has some examples of like organized crime, the Yakuza, the Mafia, the Triad, drug gangs, stuff like that. It has some characters in the back. They have a superpowered organization called the Card Shark organization, which are basically street scum, but they dress like playing cards, that kind of stuff. And then you have like playing card, and then you have a lot of independent villains, mostly assassins. These are the guys that are bad. These are the psychopaths. These are the key people that kill without caring. These are the ones. You're playing characters that pretty much kill. Most of your characters, unless you're playing an idealistic game, they don't have a problem killing people. They don't have a problem killing their opponents. One of the things that go away from superheroes don't kill, you don't involve innocence. Usually the dividing line isn't so much that I don't kill the bad guy, as I don't kill a bunch of good people to get to the bad guy. So a good vigilante in Dark Champions will not blow up the bus full of nuns just because there's a mafia down riding with them. They'll try to get the mafia down without killing any of the nuns. That kind of stuff. You will not have them just murdering people or gunning down innocents. The ones that do that are usually the ones that have to be stopped by the vigilantes, because they're crossing that line where they just want vengeance without considering, because the idea is you're just trying to protect. The idea is that you're trying to protect the innocent. You're trying to keep the people from, trying to protect these people from a corrupt system that doesn't protect them. You're supposed to protect them. You're doing the job that nobody either has the balls or really cares to do anything about it. So that's the idea about this. It also has like a bit of gun porn. There's a lot. Let me see if I can find it here. Let the thing fall apart on me. Yeah, this is basically. Yeah, they have. Basically the weapons and gadgets. And if I get too much here, there's that. They have a whole bunch of, guns galore, guns and explosives and, that kind of stuff. Revolvers, you have everything with ADC cylinders, a Wesson Super Mag, and all that stuff. So if you want the gun toter, the gun bunny, or whatever people call him, the guy that just takes out the trash, that does that kind of stuff. That's what you're looking for. The reason I also say I think it's the most successful because they came out with things like Justice Not Law, Eye for an Eye, Hudson City. No, Eye for an Eye. There's a campaign, like a 3-part adventure book called Shadows of the Sea, which I'm running right now, which is actually more full color and style because most of the villains are, like that. And some sort of third-party material. There was also like Underworld Image. It came out a lot of stuff. And most of the other stuff outside of superheroes that Hero Citizen tried to do at the time did a lot of supplemental material. Fantasy Hero had a few grimoires, or maybe I I know. I think there was Western Hero and Star Hero, and you only had to like the one book Western Star. There's no supplementary material for that. This one actually spawned a lot of stuff, and it created almost like a new genre kind of feel to it. And I think there's some people, particularly people who come from a D&D, they don't really like the idea that I can't kill people. Everyone has a code versus kill, that's a total different video. But some people, yeah, I want to play a game where I take out the scumbag drug dealer. I don't let him get away.
I have a question. I'm sorry.